All right. Hey, everyone. Good morning. Thank you for being here this morning. I know that you have been invited to a lot of different workshops over the summer, which is really amazing. And I am glad that I can be here to answer all of your questions. As Ms. Heald said, I am Meredith Lombardi and I work at Common App. I have been here for 6 years. And before that, I was a school counselor in DC. And fun fact, when I was doing my master's in school counseling at the University of Maryland, I interned at Wheaton High School. So really fun to be here. I am going to do a presentation, kind of show you everything you need to know. I imagine many of you have already done or started your Common Apps or maybe created your accounts. If you have started them, that's great. Does anyone want to either thumbs up or thumbs up? Do you all have reactions? Can you do that? Okay, I don't know. I can't see those. Oh, I see. Oh, good. Yeah, I see some. I see 12, 13. So some people have already started or created their accounts. Awesome. If you haven't, this is the information that you need to get that started. And again, feel free to use the chat to put in your questions. I'm trying to see if it's chat or Q&A. Chat.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Yeah.
Chat, please.
Okay, great. So use the chat, put in your questions, and I will get to them. Either those of you who are monitoring the college and career advisors, if you want to stop me in the middle, totally fine with that. If there's a question that comes in, and if we hold them to the end, that's fine too. So let me go ahead and share my screen. Okay. Oh, I just went really fast. So what we'll do again in this quick little overview is make sure that you have the most up-to-date information about Common App, highlight some of the parts of the application, and I can share with you just information that I have seen over the years, and give you some tips, connect you with tools that are out there so that when you do have questions, as you get really into your application, you have the information and you know where to go. And again, answer questions. I always like to start with kind of a grounding question of what excites you about going to college? Because sometimes especially with school, you just go through the motions and you're just doing it because that's what you're supposed to do, but we don't actually take the time to reflect on why are we doing this? Is it, and what's going to motivate you to go through some of the harder pieces to get where you want to go. And I think if you can remind yourselves about the exciting part and what you want to learn, or the having that independence, going somewhere new, whatever it is, have that help you drive this process, and you are going to enjoy it rather than feel maybe that it's overwhelming. So in terms of Common App, when you apply through Common App, you will be among a group of over 1 million students who use the application platform each year to apply to college. Common App is a membership organization. So we have over 900 member institutions. For class of 23 and beyond, it will be over 1,000, because each year there are member institutions that join Common App. So we have been around since 1975, when there were just 15 colleges on the platform. And now you can see it's grown will be over 1,000. You are going to find Common App members in every US state, plus DC and Puerto Rico. You also are going to find international institutions on Common App. So if you are someone who's thinking that you may want to do your entire bachelor's degree outside of the United States, you can also apply to those schools in 19 countries outside of the US within your Common App account. As I mentioned, so every year there are new institutions that join Common App. This year we have over 50 colleges that, as of August 1st, they will be in the application. So if there are any schools that you see on this list, and by the way, I will share these slides so that you have them, but these schools will be in the application as of August 1st or after. They range in geography, 22 different states. We also have one international member. Anytime Common App has like updates, we put them on our blog post. So commonapp.org/blog is where you can go and you can actually get to the blog post that lists all 51 and counting new member institutions. In terms of Maryland, many of you, I'm sure, will apply to some schools in state, some schools out of state. There are 20 Maryland institutions on Common App, 7 public, the rest private. And again, maybe some of you have some older siblings, you would know that some of these schools weren't on there a few years ago. So for example, University of Maryland, College Park, only recently became a member of Common App. Towson just became a member of Common App this past year. And so hopefully there's a school here that you are, that you may be thinking about, but also remember, there are then those other 1,000 institutions that you have access to. Yep. So in terms of finding, like, how do you know which schools are on Common App or not on Common App? How do you learn more about the institutions? When you go to the Common App website, commonapp.org/explore, or go to the Find a College page, that's where you can just look up quickly the name of a school, are they on Common App? You can also do your own kinds of searches. So if you wanted to find particular groups of schools, let's say you want to zoom in on a particular region of the country where you're interested in studying, and then you want to find a certain size of school, or think about like how you may use Naviance or how you may use Big Future. This is another way to take a large group of colleges and narrow down based on your own search criteria, and then find schools. And then when you do those searches, you can print lists of schools. You can look at profiles of individual schools. So you can actually like learn more about the schools. You can do virtual tours of the schools, access image galleries, learn more about college programs at the particular institutions, get contact information for the colleges. So it's just another way to do some of the exploration before you even get into the application. Okay, so in terms of the application itself, when you go to commonapp.org, and again, looks like many of you have already done this, you've already created an account, but for those of you who haven't, go to commonapp.org and either click Apply Now or Create an Account. Both of those take you to the same place. Also for you, there is a mobile app. So commonapp.org has the website apply.commonapp.org where you can do your entire Common App application, and that's how it has existed for over 20 years. During the pandemic, we launched the mobile app so that students could also download Common App as an app. So if you want to download for free through Apple Store or through Google Play, you can also get the Common App. It talks seamlessly with the website version. So you can do anything you want to do, any version. And also Common App on the website is also mobile friendly. So if you are just on your mobile device or on an iPad or whatever you're using, the screen will shrink to be friendly for you, even if you're not using the mobile app. In terms of the cost for Common App is free to use. The way it works is that each college will determine if they want to charge an application fee and what that fee is. So when you're in your application, you will see the different application fees. So one school you're applying to, maybe $50. Another school you're applying to, maybe $75. So these are things to take into consideration as you build your college list and look at the number of schools you're applying to. Now, Common App does have a fee waiver request process. So if an application fee would be a barrier for you, then that's something that in the application, you will see a question about, do you meet any of these eligibility criteria? So getting an SAT or ACT fee waiver, participating in the free and reduced lunch program, got income eligibility guidelines, being in a program like Avid or Gear Up or Upward Bound, lots of different ways. Every student in the application sees these criteria. And if you believe that you qualify, then you should select that you should qualify. And then your counselor will verify that on their side. Regardless of fee waiver eligibility, there are over 400 colleges in Common App that do not charge an application fee. Again, you can find that when you're in the application. You can search by no application fee, and you can also find that on that Explore page. There is one of the filters is for no application fee. So those of you who have already started your application, what you are doing is you are taking advantage of Common App rollover or account rollover. Basically, a new application launches on August 1st each year for the new graduating class. But as a student, you don't have to wait until then. So I know we're like very close to August 1st right now, but if you, again, have not created an account, you can always create one today. If you have created an account, all of the information that you have put in there is going to roll over. And let's like kind of break that down so you know what's going on. So your username and password will stay the same. You can log in with that pre-August 1st and after August 1st. Any information that you put on the Common App tab will roll over. That means anything on the profile, family, education, testing, activities, writing, and courses and grades section. Those answers roll over. Your college list rolls over. So if you added 5 colleges, when you go through rollover after August 1st, we will ask you, do you want to carry over these 5 colleges? What does not roll over are answers to the My Colleges tab questions. So anything on the My Colleges tab, college-specific questions, doing your FERPA release, that's the Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act, giving permission to your counselor and teachers to access and provide those letters of recommendation and your transcript. That does not roll over. Any recommender invitations, those do not roll over. So we'll talk about some of those recommender types. You may have invited an advisor now to help you, and you will have to re-invite anyone after August 1st. Just quick like updates so that you're aware. So the 21-22 application is going to come down on July 28th. So for those of you who have started, you have today, tomorrow, right? Today's the 26th, 27th, 28th. You have the 3 days to work in there. And then there's going to be a brief period, rest of the 28th, 29th, 30th, 31st, where you cannot access your Common App. There will be a message up there saying, hey, we're doing the refresh. We're getting ready to go for August 1. So take that time for yourselves and enjoy not working on your Common App. And then back on August 1, we will be up again and you can roll over your information and continue working in your application. So here we are kind of diving into the actual application. College search tab, so the 5 tabs at the top. College search tab, where you're going to go and add colleges to your list. You can add up to 20. That's the maximum that Common App will allow you within the online system. When you are on this tab, you see there's like a little circle that says application requirements. That is where you can go to actually look up any school to see their deadlines, their fees, how many letters of recommendation are required, their testing policy. Yes, all of that information. It's like a large spreadsheet of all schools on Common App, and then you can just narrow down to a particular school. So you have access to that on the College Search tab, as well as on the Dashboard tab. I'm kind of jumping into some of the different places, but I'm just going to jump to the My Colleges tab. This is where I was saying, again, any information you put here now, pre-August 1st, does not roll over other than the names or the colleges themselves. But if you've started answering questions here, this information will not roll over. So you do want to, if you have started answering some things, go ahead and save that off somewhere else because you may want that later, but just keep in mind that the colleges may have changed their questions. On the My Colleges tab, it's accordion style for each college you're applying to. You're answering college-specific questions. You're completing that FERPA release authorization. you're inviting and assigning recommenders, and you see there's a little asterisk, so we're going to talk about that. You're submitting your application to individual schools, and then you're also submitting a writing supplement if the school asks for one. And that's an important distinction because you're going to find in your Common App that some colleges have additional writing requirements, and some of them are in that first submission where it says review and submit Common App. There's some questions that are writing related, and then some of them have a separate second submission, and you have to make sure both parts are submitted by the school's deadline. Now, as it relates to the recommenders, I believe all of you are at Navient schools. And if that is the case, when you put in your application in the education section that you attend your school, it's going to then block you in here from inviting your counselor and inviting your teachers. You will get a message that says, your school uses Navient's, talk with your counselor, college and career specialist, advisor, and they will let you know the process for inviting individuals within your Navient's account. So just keep that in mind. You should see these messages in your Common App. Now, there is another recommender type called an other recommender, and you still can do that from within your Common App. So let's talk about the 4 recommender types. Counselor, again, they will do this in Navient's, their parts. Sending your transcript, doing school forms, approving those fee waiver requests, signing early decision agreements, all of that will take place in Navient's. Writing letter of recommendation if it's required. Your teachers, you will invite in Navient's. You will see in your Navient's account, as well as your Common App, the requirements in terms of whether a school requires 0, 1, or 2 teacher letters of recommendation. Here you can see there's only 30% of colleges that actually require a teacher letter of recommendation. So just pay attention when you're looking at your different colleges of what their recommendation requirements are. Their third type is the other recommender. That's totally optional, but some of you may have someone that you're trying to figure out, this person I know, like I really want to have them write a letter of recommendation for me. Again, example, like a coach or an employer. Totally optional, not required. Some colleges do not even accept other recommenders. So you just have to look at each college and what they allow in terms of submissions. But if you do have someone, you can invite them through your Common App as opposed to through Navient's. And then that fourth type is the advisor. This is, again, totally optional, not someone who's submitting any forms, but if you just want to give someone access to preview your application, you can invite up to 3 people to have that visibility into your application. This could be, again, if you're working with like college tracks, for example, a college access counselor, maybe an English teacher, maybe your counselor because they're using Navient's, or another individual in your school, a parent, a peer, a sibling. It's up to you, but if you are looking for that, just providing or having someone give you that additional support, you do have that ability to invite those advisors. All right, so jumping then to the Common App tab. Again, anything you put here on this Common App tab will roll over each year after August 1st. So these are the main sections. They're not college specific. You get green check marks anytime you, that's loud, anytime you complete a section or answer all of the required questions. You can jump around. It's not linear. So if you want to start on the activity section, you can do that. And then you want to go to the writing section, you hop around based on where you want to go. Just make sure you get those green check marks. On the right-hand side is where you can access our support team. So just know that no matter what time you're working on your application, there is someone who can help you at Common App. Also, we are not too far away from you. We're just in Arlington County. We are in Arlington, although all of us are working remotely at this point since the pandemic. But a lot of us are right in your neighborhood. Many live in Montgomery County. So we're on your time zone, but we do have support whenever you need it, whether you reach out to our support team or you just go to the FAQs that are already written to answer a lot of those questions that we see frequently come in from students. Within the Common App tab, just want to call out that there is a, within the education section, a community-based organization question where you can indicate if you've worked with any, what we call community-based organizations or CBOs. So you may find some that are familiar to you. Again, like Collegiate Directions, College Tracks, Upward Bound. There are just many that I know probably some of you work with, Posse. So if you do, feel free to indicate those. There is a drop-down list in the application, and there's also an other. So if you do work with a program, but you don't see it in the list here, you can always select other and then write in the organization's name. This year, it's going to be new, so I want to just make sure that you all get a heads up. Starting in August, all students in the application are going to see a question on whether they want to connect with a UStrive virtual mentor for free. So UStrive is a organization and platform that was started by Strive for College to help students by connecting them with mentors all over the country who want to assist students with getting their application submitted, financial aid assistance, answering questions. So it's just another resource. In the past, students only saw this question if they qualified for the fee waiver, but now all students in the first year application, transfer application, regardless of fee waiver eligibility, will see this question. You will be able to, if you go to ustrive.org, you can learn more information about this. It is completely optional, but I wanted to just make sure to call it out if you think you may want to have that extra resource. It works where you can pick your mentor. So you kind of indicate some of the things you're interested in, maybe some of the colleges or major where you might, location you might want to study. And then you're kind of shown some different profiles of individuals. And if you want to connect with a mentor, you have that option. Jumping to the activity section, this can take some time to complete. You can add up to 10 activities. You do not have to fill. It's not about filling 10 spots. It's about, this is space for you. Maybe you have 1 or 2 activities that have been very meaningful to you. Maybe you have 5. There's not a right number, but it really, you probably heard often that quality over quantity. So just think about what you have been doing 9th, 10th, 11th grade and into 12th grade, and how you want to highlight those things in the activity section. Also think broadly. You'll notice here, community engagement as an example, family responsibilities, hobbies, work, volunteering, sports. It's really just how do you spend your time outside of the classroom and how can you help show that in your application? So in the activity section, you'll have the chance again up to 10. There are character limits, which can be really, you have to be creative in terms of getting what you want to say in this section within the character limits. So just pay attention to that. And then also there's a part where it asks you your hours spent per year and your weeks spent per year. This is an estimate. It is not about exact math and trying to calculate all specific hours. So don't get stressed about that. Just do your best. Colleges want to know, is this something that you do year long? Or is this something that, was one weekend, but it was really meaningful to you? So just giving them that general sense, not exact math. Okay. In the writing section, so again, 7 sections on the Common App tab, that's where you're going to have you'll see the personal essay. Not all Common App colleges require it. For those that don't require it, it's still an option if you do want to send it. So when you're in the writing section, you'll see which schools on your list require it and where it's optional. You can choose from 7 different prompts. It's a 650 word limit. The prompts are not changing. So what you do see in there now, those are the same prompts that will be in there after August 1st. Common App does have an integration with Google Drive. So if you're using Google Drive, either through school or your own personal email, you can have your essays, writing, long answer questions, any content that you're storing and organizing in Google Drive, you can actually grab that content and pull into your Common App. We have I'll make sure to talk or point it out, but we do have a good resource on all of the different essay prompts. If you're just not sure, like you don't know where to start. And I also know that in your summer workshops, either you've had already some workshops on the prompts or on the essays, or you're going to. So you have lots of resources in terms of how to tackle the essay. But this really is your chance for your voice to come through in your application. If you want to read the prompts from the website, that link, commonapp.org, apply/essay prompts will get you so you can see all 7 prompts. Within the community or within the writing section, there's also a community disruption question. This is where you can talk about COVID-19 if you want to, or any other disruption in your community. Colleges are very aware that that COVID-19 has been disruptive and has disrupted your path over the last several years. If there are particular things that you want to talk about, this is your space to do it, where you don't have to put it in your Common App essay. This is not an essay question. This is 250 word limit. So think of it like short answer. Totally optional. Just to give you a sense, this past year, 16% of students answered this question. So majority of students did not, but you have that ability. If you have that space, you want to talk about an impact to you personally or to your family, maybe something that there was an impact to your schedule on your transcript, and you want to have that space to talk about it, you have that here. This is separate from, there's also an additional information question, totally optional. And then just be aware that your counselors also have a question on their forms to talk about things like if schedules changed or if courses maybe went to pass fail or anything like that. They'll talk globally about the impact of COVID-19 on the entire school. There's a 7th section called courses and grades. And this is where you may have some schools on your list that do ask you to self-report your academic record. If you have a school that's on the required side, you will need to have access to an unofficial copy of your transcript. In courses and grades, you're going to be asked to report basically 1-for-1 anything that lives on your high school transcript. And so you will open up a 9th grade part of courses and grades, and then you'll put in 9th grade English, 1 credit, and what grade you earned. And you'll do that for every course on your transcript. There are around 50 colleges on Common App that use courses and grades. So think about that 50 versus the 1,000 on Common App. There aren't many, but University of Maryland is one of the ones that uses it, as well as Jack Kent Cooke Foundation, which is a scholarship on Common App. So just make sure that you look at this list when you add your schools to your Common App so that you do know whether or not you have to use courses and grades. All right, I'm jumping over to the dashboard. The dashboard is like your summary page. It's going to show you, have I missed a deadline? Do I have an upcoming deadline? Do I have additional writing supplements for schools? You can also delete schools from your dashboard. You also have access to that requirements grid at the top, and you can look at just your colleges. So you can see kind of like your own personal spreadsheet of, okay, here are all the schools I'm applying to, the different deadlines, the different fees. So you have that as your own resource. So again, summary page, that's the dashboard. And then the 5th tab is the financial aid resources. On this tab, we're going to give you information about the FAFSA. We're going to give you information about the CSS profile. We will connect you with the financial aid office at any college that you put on your list. So we'll give you the direct link to their website so you can go out there to learn more about their, maybe if they have any scholarship deadlines or if they have additional scholarship applications, or if you can access their net price calculator so you know how much it would cost potentially to attend their schools. Again, this is a very quick introduction to a lot of things. So it's so good that you have such a good supportive staff at your schools, because I know that they're going to go over all of these things that I'm throwing at you as it relates to paying for college. But know that that lives here on Financial Aid Resources, just truly, truly as a resource. You also, on this tab, you can connect your Common App account with your College Board account related to scholarship search. So College Board has a scholarship search, and you can actually connect your accounts where you can start pulling some of the information you entered in your Common App into some scholarship applications, which is pretty cool, because then that is going to save you time as you're submitting or applying for some scholarships. So you can do that on your Financial Aid Resources tab. All right, so that was like within the application. Now I'm going to step back just to make sure you know how to access some tools, and then we're going to jump into your questions. First, the Common App website. Lots of information there before you ever get into the application. On the plan page, commonapp.org/plan, there are roadmaps by grade level. There are guides to the application. So if you just need like some assistance, or you want to, help with the different parts of the application process, you can get that on the plan page. There are tutorials, video tutorials out here. There's information about paying for college, and there are resources for parents and families. We also have a resource called Common App Ready. These are worksheets that you can use to help you along the way. One is an application dictionary. There are just a lot of new terms that you probably are going to hear over the next several months that can feel overwhelming. I know even just in this conversation, right, saying FERPA and FAFSA and CSS profile and early decision, what do all these things mean? You can access the application dictionary. All of the resources here are in English as well as Spanish. There's another great resource here on the essay prompts. So if you go out to commonapp.org/ready, you can look at the different prompts and get some guiding questions to help you think about how to approach the essays. There are brag sheets out here, student questionnaires, how to gather your materials. Just take a look and see if there's something that may work for you, just to help you along with the process. Oh, there's that example of that essay resource. Okay, we are available 24/7. So anytime you have questions, you can get to us within the application, or you can go directly to appsupport.commonapp.org. This will also, on this page, a good resource. There's that one it's in the middle. It says writing requirements. You can actually look up any college and see whether or not they require the Common App essay, whether or not they have additional writing requirements, and what those actual questions are. So we will pull that into that resource, and we'll also show you, do those questions live in the initial Common App submission, or do they live as a separate writing supplement? So you can take a look at that now. Just keep in mind that that information there as of today is for graduating class of 22. So we'll update that resource after August 1st for the next application cycle. Social media is a great way for you to stay connected with us. We are joined with Reach Higher, the initiative by former First Lady Michelle Obama, encouraging students to continue their education after high school. And the student-facing campaign is Better Make Room. So you can find Better Make Room on all social channels. And we are actually pushing a lot of information and tutorial information out through our Better Make Room handle. This past year, we launched on TikTok. So there's like lots of fun little videos just on how to approach the essay, how to think about the schools you may want to apply to, getting your FAFSA submitted, just lots of really great information. So please connect, follow us, Common App, Reach Higher, Better Make Room, so that we can answer your questions, give you the tools and resources that you need. And then I'll leave you with just threw all this information at you. You've been attending lots of workshops. You've been doing research this summer. Like you've got, I know for us here, I'm in Fairfax County, we've got 4 weeks left until school starts. So like, what are some things that you can do to break out some of the steps that you need to take so that you're not stressed and overwhelmed, but you're actually enjoying this process, learning about yourself, getting excited about this next step, and then thinking about who can help you along the way. With that, I'm going to stop sharing and I am going to answer any questions that have come in or any questions that you may have now.
So I will feed you a few questions. One, if you have added schools to the Common App, Meredith, can you remove them? I know they're not sent to the school unless you click submit, but can you actually move them?
Like remove them?
Remove them from Common App once they're on there.
Yeah, absolutely. So you can actually delete them either from the dashboard tab, or you can remove them from the My Colleges tab. Okay. There's like a little trash can symbol and you can just, delete them.
That's what I thought. Okay. Just to be sure I heard correctly, did we hear from Meredith that each school provides universities information regarding how that school adjusted grades, et cetera, as a result of COVID? So there's no need for each student to do that himself or herself. Yeah, I wasn't exactly sure either.
Oh, this is related to, this is related to the counselor question on the school profile about COVID. Yes. So Jason, your question, correct. Yes. The counselors have, there is a question and there was, let me give you the link here. The short answer is yes. Counselors have a question where they answer, how did COVID impact the school? So they would say, for example, during the students' 9th grade or 10th grade, this is what happened, or we went to pass fail, or we were virtual from March 2020 through March 2021. Yes. And I would say, like, because not many students, right? Like not many students know or have ever seen the school profile. So ask your counselor, ask your college and career advisor to see a copy of the profile.
Okay. Once Common App has, once you've submitted your Common App, your applications, can it be edited? I'll let you, I know the answer.
Yeah, it's a great question. You can't, and you cannot edit, like if you submit to Towson, you cannot edit your Towson application, but you can make unlimited changes to that Common App tab before you submit to the next institution. So you can always make edits on the Common App tab, but once something is sent, it's sent as a PDF to a college. That one college you cannot make edits to.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Someone asked where they can access this recording. It will be available in a couple hours. It will be sent to your college and career advisor. And if you missed the beginning, every single one of our 25 high schools has a college and career advisor. If you don't know who that is, ask your counselor, and that is who will have a copy of this recording. I'm just looking.
Can I answer the question about the parent, like if parents wanted to have access to their students'
please.
Common App? Yeah. So that's the example of like the advisor role. You as a student, you control your application. So you decide who you give access to. That's part of that FERPA release where you're giving that permission to your counselor and to your teachers or any other recommenders. You can also use that advisor role if you choose to invite a parent as an advisor. Again, it's you giving permission and saying, I want to share this information with my parent.
That's great. Thank you.
So just wanted to ask a quick question. You were talking about schools that have entered the Common App. Are there any schools that like leave the Common App?
The only ones that I'm aware of are like for if schools are closing, then we have seen that instance. But otherwise, we've just continued to grow and we haven't seen schools leaving.
Okay. It seems like even colleges on Common App still have portals. What are those used for? Oh yeah, you can, do you want me to address that, or do you want to?
Yeah, no, you go ahead.
Okay, so once you apply to a school, you will be contacted by that school and they will ask you to create your portal. And from then on, that is where you're going to get your acceptance, not through Common App, but through the school's portal. So if you apply to the University of Maryland and you create a portal for University of Maryland, that is where you're going to keep checking back. Just make sure you have all the documents that you need to submit, and yes, nothing's submitted there. It's all submitted through Common App. But that's where you're going to check for the update and the status and whether or not you were accepted.
Yeah. I want to address just for those of you, because this is probably, it looks like a mixed group, maybe not all rising seniors. That account rollover works for everyone. So if yes, you would, for the two different application types are first year, meaning it's going to be your first time in college, not including if you do dual enrollment. And then the second kind is transfer student, where you've already graduated high school and you've gone and done some college. So for all of you who are still in high school, yes, you select first year student, and you can create that account anytime after 13 years old. So you can create it as a 9th grader, 10th grader, 11th grader. You create it one time and you can roll it over from year to year. So if any of you are not rising seniors, yes, you still pick first year student, and you can log in each year and just roll over your information from year to year. So you did select correctly. Anyone pick first year student. And it just asks you, when do you intend to enroll in college? And that's the question where it'll say, like, I intend to enroll in fall 2024 or later. That's how we'll know that you're not a current senior.
Okay, let's see. Do you see anything else? Can you use the Common App for grad school?
We get that question a lot. We currently only have undergraduate degree granting on Common App. We do have a partnership with a company called Liaison, and they have a similar kind of common application for graduate school called GradCast. So that does exist for you all down the road, where there are common platforms for graduate school.
Thank you. Okay, Michael, you don't transfer your letters from Naviance into Common App. First of all, you're not allowed to see your letters of recommendation. Your teacher will upload those directly into Naviance, and Naviance will send those to the school. Your registrar at your school will send those letters. Okay, so you make the request of your teacher, and that's all you need to do. A little confused. Do acceptance rejections post application not go to the student's email any longer? Do you need to check each school's portal? It sort of depends. Some schools will still mail you a hard copy letter in a nice envelope to tell you that you were accepted. Some will email you, but just for updates and to make sure that you have everything submitted that you need to submit, you should still create that portal and check in with that portal.
Yep. Yeah, and go ahead.
Sorry. Hi, this is Mary Pat, Miss Johnson at Einstein. Also, Kate, just to follow up, some schools do actually give their decisions on the portal. So you definitely, as soon as you submitted your application, once you create your portal, create a notes section in your phone and be sure you have all your usernames and logins so that you can be checking that, as you said.
Yes, and also we had a question about, should we list the teacher recommendations in Common App even though it goes through Naviance? Check with your CCIC here. We do not want kids to, we don't need kids to put their teachers in Common App, because then the teacher it's just another step for the teacher that doesn't need to happen. So, but check with your college advisor just to make sure that they have the same policy in their high school.
Yeah. And again, in Common App, when you put in your SEEB code of where you attend high school, it will block you from adding any teachers in Common App.
Okay, good.
Yeah. I do see the question about test optional. Does it show which colleges have become test optional? So yes, fairtest.org is a great resource to look up schools. And they also include links out to schools' testing policies. Just so you have a general sense of Common App, there is a filter on the commonapp.org website on Explore where you can find test optional and see which schools. Also within the application, there's a filter on that college search tab. Right now, only 5% of colleges on Common App require test scores. So that means 95% have gone test optional. There was already a large movement towards test optional prior to COVID-19. And then obviously when students couldn't have access to tests, there was a huge dip in any school requiring test scores. So it's right now around 5% of schools that don't have a test optional policy.
Okay. And again, we had a question about early college, and teachers not being part of our high school. How do those letters of recommendation get submitted? And again, it depends on your school and how they handle it. How we handle it here at BCC is I ask the student to have the teachers email the letter directly to me and I upload it into Naviance. Okay, but keep in mind that when you ask, you still want to have your high school teachers write letters of recommendation for you. So it may be a supplemental to have your college professor write one. Unless if it's in, you're taking a higher level math or English or something, absolutely that can be used. But just double check to make sure that your school handles it the same way, that they are willing to upload that into Naviance for you. Or you can get the email of the admissions rep and that professor can send the letter directly to the admissions rep. I've had that happen before too. Any other questions? Understand that every one of you has a Ms. Johnston, a Mr. Nalda, a me. If you do not know who your college and career advisor is in your high school, you need to ask your counselor who that is, okay? Because it is our job to help you with this whole process and to answer all of these questions. Okay, so please email them. We all work during the summer. So, don't be shy. This is really important and it's your future. Any other questions? Can you clarify what you mean by a portal? And if we can set up the portals, how do we do that? That's not something you're going to be doing until you actually apply to school. So for example, you apply to the University of Maryland, you submit your Common App application. You get an email from Maryland. It will give you explicit directions as to what you need to do next. It will give you the link where you need to go and create an account for the University of Maryland. When I say portal, what I'm saying is you're creating an account for that school that is unique for you, okay? And then once you've created that, that is where you're going to go whenever you're looking for updates from the University of Maryland. Okay.
Kate, there was a question, I'm not sure if you saw it, just in terms, a general question about scholarships. And I thought this would be a good one for one of you to answer, just in terms of how you all advise students, how to search for or when to apply for scholarships or how to do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, and if Mary Pat or Carlos have another answer, but what I'll start with is there are a couple different ways to get scholarships. You can get them directly from the college when you apply. They'll say, congratulations, we're going to give you the presidential scholarship for $20,000 a year, providing that you maintain a GPA of 3.0 or whatever their criteria is. So that's a direct scholarship from the school. They may also provide you the opportunity for a grant. Anything with the word scholarship or grant is free money and you do not have to pay that back. Okay, anything with the word loan in it, you do need to pay back. All of us also have spreadsheets with other private scholarships. So again, ask your CCIC for the link to that scholarship list. And then there are also scholarships that each school has access to. For example, I have some that only go to BCC students, and some of the other schools will have some that are only for their students as well. We did a presentation last week, I think it was, from Going Mary, which is a scholarship search site. I have that recording. Almost all of these workshops this summer have been recorded and combined onto one paper with all of the links. So you can go back on there and look for the one that says Going Mary Scholarship Search. Okay, and again, reach out to your CCIC. Sound like a broken record here.
Hey,
All right.
can you remind people where the recording and access to the slides will be, where they can access this?
Yep, I'm gonna pull up that link right now and I'm gonna put it in the chat.
That's great. Thank you, Kate. While you're doing that, the other thing I wanted to mention is the FAFSA, which is the free application for
Yes.
federal student aid.
Thank
The
you.
federal government is the #1 provider of financial aid to students. And all of our high schools will be holding financial aid nights probably the end of September, because October 1st is when the FAFSA, that application for federal aid, will open. And you can submit that application October 2nd. So we will be holding those events, sharing a lot of information about it. There will be a large programming this year, really trying to get all students to complete a FAFSA, even if you think you may not qualify for that aid, because there are scholarships through the state Congress that will that you may be eligible for, but you have to have submitted FAFSA, and that is not just with those scholarships. There are others where you have to have submitted a FAFSA in order to get the scholarship. So that is from a federal perspective. And then after that, we will also really be talking about the Maryland Higher Education Commission, which provides money to students that choose to go to a school in the state of Maryland, public or private. For that, you will need to complete an MD CAPS application. And again, we will all be talking about that more as the time gets closer, and that's something we'll focus on this fall. So just to let you know that that is out there and coming.
Thank you. Yes, I did neglect to mention that. And also I found out, I met with somebody from Maryland legislature last week that said that the state has been given an extra $100 million for financial aid for college this year. So applying for FAFSA is even more critical now because so much money goes unclaimed. All right, well, thank you, everybody. I did put that document in the chat, so I encourage you to click on that and view some of these videos, because there have been a lot of great workshops this summer. Again, if you have questions, you can reach out to your CCIC. They will have Meredith Lombardi's email as well if you want to contact her directly. And thank you, everybody, so much for being here today. I really appreciate your time. Thank you, Meredith.
Yeah, thanks everyone, and good luck.
Thank you.
All right, reach out. Take care.